gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic, so for that reason, I also have another channel called Latina Diaspora where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I also want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, to be a subscriber for the first 5 minutes into the stream. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or to join us latest today, I appreciate your love and continued support. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications on. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, as you can see tonight, we're having another episode of Open Discussion. For those of you who are not familiar, what I will do is I will share my views regarding multiple topics. Those in the chat will have an opportunity to opine. Also, if you have anything that you want me to discuss, I will do my best to comply. If it's something that I'm not fully knowledgeable about, I'll be transparent and state so. Now, before I continue, let me just state that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding any topic that I'm going to uncover, they may do so. However, if I never see you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure to know which way to flash anything appropriate, particularly when it comes to genitalia, which will cause some of you to take down the screen. Once I see that you're going to comply with my guidelines, you will be allowed on the panel. Now, whether you decide to cam up or not cam up, that's something I'll be a discretion. So with that being said, let me just state what's going to be next week's schedule. So I will be doing lives on this channel alone. I will be doing a live on Sunday, 10:30. regarding the topic, discipleship, Christian topic. And of course, when it comes to Christian topics, I'll give a couple of disclaimers that this is not an attempt to try to um, force anyone to accept Christianity or Christianity as I understand it. It's just having a discussion regarding that. And then on Tuesday, um, I will be talking about depression. I'll be talking about what it is and how to deal with it. Now, I'm going to add some short videos on my other channel. Um, Something more like is a Latina or life issues. And of course, Friday is um, open discussion. So, with that being said, earlier this week, I saw this video by a YouTube creator known as Didi. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, she is a young African American woman that focuses regarding reaction videos, and she also does lives. Okay. Now, something that she reported was that allegedly, I'm going to put it to you this way, allegedly, that there were women out there that put in social media that if men wanted to date them, they would have to pay a deposit of $1,000. Now, supposedly, this lady said that she was only joking. Okay, but this is the it just takes one person, whether it's serious, to create an idea that other people pick. Okay, it's bad enough that you have some women that you have these outrageous demands of what they expect from a man. Okay, and unfortunately, they've been enabled by the simps. Okay, that basically believe that women can do wrong and that and that any woman highly value and treat them as queens. They suspect even though they may be morbidly obese or things of that nature. Eventually, sooner or later, some simp is going to actually uh, make deposits. Maybe not $1,000, but definitely hundreds of dollars. Simply for the opportunity to speak with someone who the someone interested in the dude because of his money. Okay. Now again, let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not saying that all women are okay. Unfortunately, all women who have again outrageous expectations. Okay. And we all know what are those expectations. Men have to be 6 feet tall. You have to have a six pack. You have to have a six income. You have to be like a thug, but yet wanting to wipe off a woman's future. And the problem is it paints the narrative that all women are the same. And that is between this are the same. Okay. Unfortunately, it seems like many women very superficial. Many women just want to go out there and have as multiple sexual income as possible. Okay, and then try to sell it as empowerment. Now the problem is, yes, there is a double standard. Okay, okay, which is if men, phrase it this way, if males have intercourse with women, they're called playboys. They're called debonair. They're called players. Okay, it's more glorified. When women decide to have multiple sexual partners, they're called ladies of the evening. They're called everything. But there is one thing that we overlook. Can become pregnant. Good evening, Donna Mondo. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I just want to say congratulations on your anniversary, so to speak. You and your better half. So tonight is another episode of Open Discussion. You know, and the problem is some women. You're quite welcome. You have some women that try to be equal with men, okay, in every conceivable. Now, don't get me wrong. There are many things women can do just as well as men. Okay, no one ever said that. They said the contrary. But in many ways, they're not equal to men. They're not like men. Okay, women function one way, men function a different way. Men, okay, let me put it in this fashion. Mature men tend to think logically. They tend to analyze things of that nature. Women tend to be a little bit more emotional, and then of course they are the nurturing type. So while while women can do many men can do, and sometimes they can do, they're not men. Okay. Unfortunately, we have a situation where women, uh, okay, let me phrase it. Some women tend to be more masculine than feminine, and they defend this by saying like, well, they have to be this way because of the environment that they're in, whether that be single parents or working in a work environment. Okay, and again, let me just state this: not all women think this way. But the fact of the matter is, just like women. Oh, good evening. First of all, good evening, Georgia. Thank you for entering the fight. This is your captain, Captain Jose Negro, welcoming all the passengers to Uncommon Airlines. Um, while we are in flight, I'm asking you that please, when you are in your seated position, please keep your seat belt on. We will be cruising at a height of 35,000 until we arrive at your destination. We will do everything possible to make this flight as enjoyable as we can be. And if you have any questions, please reach out to attendant uncommon staff. Oh my goodness. Okay, so going back, it's just that when it comes to dating, both sexes have certain standards. um, on behalf of the flight crew, we thank you very much for your kind words, and we do hope that you spread the word regarding the oncoming airlines to other would-be passengers who may wish to take advantage of the services that we do provide. But the dating and what's an interesting situation? Um, we're having open discussions. So basically, at this point, I'm kind of getting into the area of that we will discuss during the duration of this flight. Um, but the interesting thing is that when it comes to some of these women, the men that they wish to pursue are not interested in them. And there are many reasons behind that, okay? I mean, think about it. If you are a male, okay, and you're earning a six figure income, like 6 figures, and you have a six pack, okay, that's a very small minority. Males have all sorts of options to pursue, and some of them may not wish to pursue someone that's morbidly obese or a female that's masculine in appearance and attitude, or have multiple children by multiple baby daddies. That's just the plain reality. And depending on where we are, depending on our age, depending on our circumstances, to be realistic regarding who we want to date. Okay. Like in my case, I'm in my 60s. So realistically speaking, I should pursue someone relatively close to my age. Okay. There's no reason why I'm going to try to pursue someone in their 20s or their 30s. I'm not even their 40s. Okay. First of all, there is um, substantial age gap, and now women, let's keep it real, do not feel comfortable um, dating someone that's 20 years their senior. Many are women that would prefer to date to their age. Some who are maybe for not out of genuine affection, but for money. Now the next thing that I'm going to talk about is that of course I really appreciate all the growth and all the support that I have received from the support the supporters within the last few months. And actually, I'm approaching 2 milestones. Okay. I'm 3 subs away from the 700 sub mark. Okay. Which is something that I never thought that I'd reach. And I'm about 30,000 views away from the 600,000 view mark. Okay. When I became a serious content creator 4 years ago and started producing content, uh, I didn't envision that I would have this much success. Okay. I mean, basically, an no, I'm just an elderly person who has a little bit of wisdom, gained a little bit of wisdom during my almost 63 years of life, and sharing my own personal experiences, things like that, and also sharing some knowledge that I've gained, some, that I've gotten from other people. The fact that I've gained this much support, I suspect by next year I will reach I will gain 1K. So, of course, I would love to make money. Okay, but that was never um the goal was to make money. Okay, well, because I do have a job. Okay, I do have no, okay, income. Okay, but if I were, if I once I be, if I should become monetized, of course that will be a big blessing. Okay, but I never entered this for the purpose of making money. Basically, I entered this in order to share my wisdom I've gained, the knowledge I've gained, and of course, um, I have a community of people who genuinely supported me. Um, of course, I see a great deal of support from Georgia, Donna Mambo, Gigi, Dreaming, Irving, Reza. Once in a while, Embrace Your Curls will stop by. Uh, Femi, April Showers, and of course, earlier in my YouTube career, I have other people who supported the channel. People like Radical Latino, Protep, uh, Melanated Night, The Intro Barbarica, The 18th Leather, Denise Gonzalez, uh, Fulana. Okay. Of course, a lot of these people I miss, okay, because they haven't been uh, on this platform for considerable time. But I do understand that, people have lives outside it, have responsibilities outside it. Okay. Of course, they're always welcome whenever they see fit to bless my cyber. course, unfortunately, there's been a few individuals which was necessary that I have to ban from the platform. Those individuals. I don't make a lot. I don't have. But by golly, okay. And basically, it boils down to respect towards me, towards the panel, and towards those who are in the chat, including those who are in the clouds. Now, Georgia, someday I'm going to be discussing the topic discipleship, a Christian concept. So hopefully you'll be able to hop on or at least listen from the clouds as I share knowledge regarding that topic. And of course, depression, we'll discuss next week. Now, in all fairness, I have discussed this on multiple occasions. And in fact, my first year, I actually had a therapist to lend their expertise. I don't think I'm going to have it, but it's very important that we have the discussion. Because there is a lot of stigma regarding depression, particularly when it comes to people of my generation. Okay, because in reality, we were taught, particularly the men, to be stoic, not to cry, to control our emotions, and just basically suck it up and just pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. So when it comes to my generation, it can be a challenge to acknowledge that we have a mental concern. It could be a challenge for us to seek therapy. Now, one thing I do plan to discuss next month is a discussion regarding diversity. Now, how I'm gonna direct it, that I'm still trying to figure that out. But once I do, we'll have a discussion. Now, this is attention passengers. Attention passengers. This is your captain speaking. Should anyone wish to click the link and enter into the cockpit or enter into the plane itself, you may do so. Chat as we speak. I love the cosplay play the role of an airline pilot. I think it's kind of unique. And of course, this is the Labor Day weekend, which is the unofficial last weekend of summer. Even though calendar-wise, summer is going to be around for another 3 weeks. And of course, being that this is the last unofficial summer weekend, of course, a lot of people have trouble Okay. Whether it be to visit family or maybe visit someplace somewhere where the climate that nature. I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna relax and take it easy. Okay. And actually, I took the day off, so I have a 4-day weekend. Okay. So I'm just using the time to relax because this week was a very hectic and busy week at work. Okay. Now this is your captain speaking. We're gonna have a slight detail on the flight. The next topic is going to be Thailand. Now, as you get around my age, okay, and just for the benefit of those, I will be 63 in October. So as you get older, think more and more about retirement, more and more regarding what you're gonna do during your golden age. Now, there are some people who continue to work into the into the 70s, 80s, or in some cases the 90s. I am not going to be one of those people. Okay. What I plan to do is I plan to retire in 2 years. That's the goal. Okay. Now, how I'm going to experience my retirement, so to speak. I do have things in place. First of all, here in my neighborhood, there are two senior citizen centers where I can participate in various activities. So whether it be and they do have activities such as trips and things of that nature. So that's going to take a good portion of my time. Also, to be active with my youth. The thing is, as a retirement, and then of course I plan to travel. Okay, at least twice, maybe 3 times a year. We shall see. Okay, and of course I'll plan to do um, domestic travel and international travel. Definitely Europe is in my bucket list. Definitely. Cities that I plan to visit: Madrid. There's something that's so special about old cities like Madrid and London. Now, of course, I have to get used to the fact that in Spain they speak in Spanish with a little difference. Okay, they have Spanish where they include like what's called the Vosotros form of speech, basically like a plural us or plural them. Okay, and of course in the UK they speak English, but of course there's some terms that that's a little bit foreign, so I'm gonna have to um, learn what some of those terms so that um, I don't stick it like a sore thumb. And of course, travel domestically. Georgia, if you're still listening, you're more than welcome to hit the link. Same thing with you, Don Amando. Okay, and of course, or anyone, is more than welcome to hit the link. Okay. Just get something. So one thing I've learned to do basically, when it comes to open discussion, not have any notes. So basically, I'm just what's on my mind. And football. So of course, there's going to be a couple of questions. Like for example, can the Philadelphia Eagles uh, can they make it to the Super Bowl again, and can they repeat as world champs? Um, we don't know. Only time will tell. And of course, unfortunately, our football team, which consists of the Jets and the Giants, have not done well the last 3 weeks. And from indications speak, does not appear they're going to do that much better. There's a possibility that there might be a surprise, and who knows. I do know that last year one of the surprises was the Detroit Lions gained success that they have. They actually won, I think it was 15 games in this season. Unfortunately, um, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So we'll have to wait and see um, what what wild card. Now I'm gonna be in the month of September. I will be discussing um, again, and why? Because it's a serious topic. Okay. And to be perfectly honest, not everyone is willing to discuss these topics. Fair is not easy, okay? Because we have certain misconceptions when it comes to mental health issues. Mainly that if you're, if you publicly acknowledge that you mental health implies that you're crazy. No, okay? In fact, if anything, if you acknowledge the fact that you're a mental health professional because of some trauma that you experience, that's a level of maturity. That's a level of reality. And I'm gonna use the trigger word. Accountability. Okay. In an age when the word accountability is like kryptonite, and we're also living in an age when integrity is like, okay. Because we do know people who are just incapable of taking accountability for their actions. And of course, here in these two streets, people do of saying anything, they get clicks and views and to make money. Of course, I always believe and hold the belief people respect the camera because they're the one that they're the one that's piloting their platinum their airline, so to speak. I just decided, you know what? There's certain things I will not do. There's certain things I will not try. Okay. My government names, etc. So, I believe it was yesterday night's birthday, so I just want to say happy birthday, holiday night. Um, I, and your son, and this, I take into consideration. That being that this is the Labor Day weekend, that most likely are going to be out celebrating. People are going to go out to join the so-called last hurrah summer, which explains why yeah. So that means most likely people are going to catch the playback, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. I know there's going to be days where there's going to be a lot of people make content, and there's going to be days where no one just make content. It's the way. Okay. So this flight will probably continue for another minutes or so. Okay. But being that this is the Labor Day weekend, so Monday, in the borough of Brooklyn, we have the West Indian Day Parade, which is a celebration of West Indian culture and food and things of that nature. So I will be marching in the parade. Okay. With the ever came, but marching up the bus. Next Saturday is the day parade, okay, of which um, all all the youth will march on Fifth Avenue as a celebration of celebration of the um, achievements and privileges that unions give the working man. Okay. Okay. We have job security. We have opportunities for promotion. We have pensions. We have medical coverage. Uh, we have prescription benefits. We have educational benefits. We have legal assistant benefits. Um, opportunities for promotion, and we have what's called due process, meaning that cannot simply arbitrarily dismiss someone without just cause and going through an actual process. Okay. Now, okay. My father was a member of District Council 37 as a custom assistant because things that my father taught me was the thing. I look at unions as a family in the sense that first of all they look after the well-being of its members, and we are this this protect. It's one thing when they try to lash out against one, but it's a okay. Now, are unions perfect? No. Have there been situations where representatives of unions done a poor job? Yes. Okay. But I hope the believe is better than no union. So, two more things which I'll discuss, and then we will come into our landing here at Uncommon Sense Airlines. Okay. One of these I do plan to have some discussion. I just need to figure out what direction I'm gonna go. Okay. And also, one thing, there'll be a couple streams where I will come up at least part of the time. Okay. Now, in the beginning, when I was doing my content, I would say like most of the time I did come up after a while. You know, I use avatars. I have used different avatars during my time, and I think for the month of September, what I'm going to do is at least where at least I'll be partially on so you can see who I am. In fact, let me just show you. This is what I look like, folks. Okay. Oh, and my Lord. Okay. Okay. Which I have been using for the last 2 weeks to edit for the audio because it does take a while for us to do. Okay. And the final that I will discuss is probably the month of how to deal with grief. Now, you know, I have discussed this before, but it does need to be discussed again. As we get older, we'll experience loss of loved ones. Okay, and we'll how how to deal with loss. Now, one thing I've said before, I will continue stating, has no expiration. Okay, and it could be 10, 20, 50 years since the death of a loved one. Um, it's like it happened yesterday. So I'm gonna be discussing, and like I said before, and all the love and all the support, all of it, okay. Particularly this year and a half, okay. It took. It took me about to get my first 100 subs, and the fact that I'm close to seven, which means by the end of the year I should be around 800. By next year, subs. Okay, and again, it's because of you. So, with that being said, if anyone wants to hit the link is in the show. If anyone has any more comments, then ask. But I really appreciate all of you very much, and I'll never stop saying so. Okay, there are contact that why I have the success that I have is because of again and we go watch my content, whether it be when I'm live, whether it be on the also do that also watch my show. Also play one okay. Um one what I wish to join unless summer be safe. Don't take anything for please I'll be surrounded so that because sometimes when we travel, time God down, and we have to be mindful of where we are So, with that being said, I'm going to start to wrap up this episode because looks like no one is going to join me on the panel. And that's okay. Okay. But I will say this. Um, I'm going to continue to be true to myself. I will continue to contact, um, enjoy, gain knowledge. Okay. And there's an opportunity for us to exchange ideas. And if we disagree, let us strive to be agreeable when this. Now, with that being said, enjoy that. As we have a weekend, and things will get better. I know that all the trips you have enjoyed. Okay. Um, of course, we're going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to enjoy. We must do everything possible to fundamentally and intellectually joy. Because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This is another episode of Uncommon Sense. This is your captain, Jose Negron speaking. Passengers will be arriving at our destination. The captain and I request that you please remain seated during the duration of the flight and remain seated until I give the signal to unbuckle seatbelts and personal belongings. Please be careful when you go into the overlap bins because things might have shifted a little bit during the flight. And with that being said, is enjoy your weekend and strive to be the best version of yourself. Which means don't focus on the haters, don't focus on the naysayers, just strive to be the best version of yourself. Remember, you're not accountable to anybody other than yourself and God. And with that being said, thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Take care and